Salute to all the real ones out there. It's your boy Mike coming at you again with another video. Now, if you've seen some of my other videos and you like the direction that my channel is going, like, comment, subscribe, and share that information with people that you think could benefit from it, right? Now, today's video is going to be about a painful truth, actually. It's the fact that he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. That's like a very, very old quote, and it goes back to antiquity. But as a person who has had my eyes, let's say, peeled open, and I've had many epiphanies in the past about where this world is headed and the hidden hand of the government, and basically the inner workings of what we have been told our whole entire lives. I do realize that learning more about the matrix, the world that we live in, and other categories will lead you to depression. I went through it myself. Like, I'll give you just a couple examples of things that basically shattered my paradigm. So one thing that really broke my heart when I was younger was this conditioning that I received about women. You know, I grew up in a single parent household. I was always listening to the music, you know, 112, Cupid, Drew Hill, Beauty, you know, hearing Jagged Edge, and just looking left and right and seeing so many women who were very disappointed with the type of men that were available, right? It was almost like, you know, men are worthless. And as a young dude growing up and seeing that and not really having any masculine dudes around that I could look up to, I started to look in the mirror and realize that, hey, I should be the change that I want to see in the world, right? Even when you think back about Michael Jackson's song, The Man in the Mirror, if every one of us as individuals, not just men, but all individuals looked in the mirror and did a ego check about the type of person that they are or the type of person that they have become over time, and decided to make adjustments based on that analysis, the world would be a better place. Because you can't really change anyone except for yourself, and it all starts on a personal level. And I think by doing so, it causes a ripple effect, and other people are then influenced by your positive change. So one of the things that just really disappointed me when I was growing up was I always thought that if I could be basically a man that could be the best of both worlds. Like, I'm a man, I know where I'm headed, I'm working on myself, I'm trying to improve, and then I'm also in touch with how I feel, and I try to understand the woman that I'm interested in. I respect her emotions, I give her good treatment, and I'm also not afraid to be romantic. I thought these things would yield the best results. And honestly, it was just a very painful discovery to figure out that I was totally wrong in that aspect. I literally got the best results in my dating life when I was totally selfish and only cared about my own interests. That's literally when I saw inexplicable result. I mean, it can't even be explained how big of a change the behavior in the women was when I went from being a nice guy who really cared about their feelings and really wanted to, let's say, make a good impression, to basically give off those strong qualities of a man that you could actually be in love with and he will be faithful on down the line. Those were things that I was trying to learn, and I was trying to give off when I would meet a girl. When I literally learned that that's not going to give me the best results, and I got angry, I then decided, man, fuck this shit. I don't care what no female want. It's all about what I want. And it was very narcissistic and arrogant, and almost a 360 from how I originally approached dating. That's when I got the best results. And honestly, that was just heartbreaking for me, because I'm not the inconsiderate asshole that just walks around and doesn't care about what people think or feel. You know, I believe in karma. You know, and that kind of kept my emotions in check, and it also made me analyze my own behavior. Even if I did partake in some typical alpha approaches with women, often I would find that on the inside I felt disgusted, or I felt ashamed, or I felt disappointed in the nature of affairs, because that's really not who I am. I really am like a heartfelt person, and I do care about making a good impression, and I do want to be someone who's a good example for other young men to follow. So that was probably one of my first red pills that I had to swallow, where I understood that there's a disconnect between what society taught me and what is the true nature of the dynamic between men and women, right? Had to learn and adapt, right? So on to the next thing. When I learned this actually young, but when I would go to school and then they would just tell me a condensed version, it was like this big of a version of the entire world. Like the only thing we learned about was how Europeans basically were the ones who built America, black people are all slaves, and that we didn't really have much of a contribution to society. That is probably the biggest piece of bullshit that I think plays into the modern day psyche of all black people on this world, because the image of who we really are and what we've really done for the world has always been minimized, confiscated, recycled, repackaged, and shoved down our throats as if it came from other people. You know, they can't give us credit for building the pyramids, but they'll say it was because of some aliens. They can't say that Egypt was a beautiful civilization that black people created. They'll more say that Egypt is not, like they want to take Egypt and act like it's part of Asia or Europe or Middle East. Like they won't just give that to us, you know. They only talk about Egypt. They won't tell you about Sudan or Mali or Ghana or Nigeria or Senegal or the Ivory Coast, Rwanda, Congo, like Angola. It's 54 countries in Africa, but we never really learn anything about how great of a people we are. And the whole world is always spitting in our face and giving us bad propaganda. Like we're always backpedaling, trying to defend ourselves. And we're literally fighting for the right to just be treated like everyone else. And somewhere that lets me know that we are a very special people, because so many people are hell-bent on keeping us at the bottom of this totem pole. But it's also very damaging, and it's very saddening, you know, and it causes a lot of pain that all of us carry around. Regardless of how black people express this pain, we're all carrying it around. And I think like every last one of us would really benefit from sitting down with a therapist and really getting all these emotions out, because it's coming out in generations. Like, we're the most remarkable and resilient people on the face of the earth. We endure so much bullshit, you know. We literally have to argue that our lives matter. We're literally backed in the corner trying to explain why it's wrong for a unarmed teenager to be shot and killed by the police, and there's people who are still trying to justify, well, not all police are bad or this or that. Like this psychological trauma that's happening to us on a daily basis is just very saddening. And to realize that there's a system that's built on maintaining that status quo makes me literally like sick to my stomach. And if I feel that, I can only imagine how every other black people feel it. And then there's this infighting that we have amongst each other. You know, oh, I'm light skinned. Oh, your mom is white. Oh, like all these disses going on just because I'm maybe not as dark as you. But at the end of the day, we still beefing. Or Bloods against Crips. It's like, man, we both broke. We both struggling. We're both at the bottom of this totem pole. Why the fuck are we divided? We need to come together. But that brings me to my next point. When I realized that divide and conquer is the most effective strategy ever to gain power over people, and I see how it's utilized in almost every aspect of human interaction, in every aspect, rich against poor. There's so much dichotomy, women against men, housewife against working woman, tall against short, light against dark. They've taken every single pair that exists in nature and made them enemies instead of, capitalizing on the harmonious balance that's naturally supposed to exist. Everything in nature exists in pairs. I mean, I can name you 10 examples right now. Up and down, left and right, sad and happy, hate and love, rich, poor, fat, slim. You know what I mean? Like, it goes on and on. And they did it even so effectively against people that it's like black, white. And that's the system that we live in. It's like it's a system playing on everyone's differences. Meanwhile, the rich, super rich elite, they're robbing us blind, right underneath our noses, right in plain sight. They indoctrinate you with this ideology that one's better than the other. One's worse than the other, and then we're constantly clashing against each other. And as a person who can kind of see the big picture, it's just really saddening, you know what I mean? So, like, knowing these things and then maybe even having to argue these things with other people who don't have this level of enlightenment is very discouraging. You almost wish that you could unsee certain things that you've come to witness. Your eyes are now open to the matrix, and I'm just like Cyrus sometimes. How he's eating that steak and he knows it doesn't exist, but he talks about ignorance is bliss. Ignorance really is bliss. The less I knew, the more happy I was, because I was actually participating in some of the bullshit and didn't even realize that I was none the wiser. Another thing that made me just sad when I just realized it is even something as simple as like the New World Order. The fact that there are really people out there that expose the big plots, that really dedicate their whole life to research and write books and come out with YouTube channels and do their best to enlighten the world of what's really happening. And those people get labeled as crazy and even get policed by the people who they're actually trying to help. That is a very saddening thing, because what it does is it takes away the incentive for other people to bring out truth in this world. So case in point, let's say you and I are in the same school, right? And let's say there's a teacher, I'm just making this up, okay? But let's say there's a teacher who raped a student. That student knows, and she tells me. And then I find that teacher constantly hitting on her and blackmailing her to either do it or she'll fail the class, or, no one's going to believe her, this, that, and the third. And then I'm a person who comes out and tries to expose it, but then my character gets attacked. I'm assassinated publicly. And everybody thinks I'm just doing it for whatever reason, whatever, let's say, agenda I have against the cop, against the teacher. And then now everybody's castrating me. Everybody's talking about me as if, like, why would you talk about this teacher? He's one of the best teachers. He ain't never did nothing like that. How could you blame him? As if I'm making it up on my own. As if I would risk my whole entire life just to expose something that's not true. It's just like that when I think about whistleblowers and people who literally wind up dead from a suicide or overdose right after they expose and blow the lid off of some shit that everybody is just following along with. Like, go back to the Twin Towers. Look at some of the people who had interviews right there, and they said that They didn't even notice the fire. The first thing they heard was explosions from the ground floor. It's already kind of been proven that that was a controlled demolition. If y'all still don't believe that, I mean, it's just mind-blowing then, because that means the propaganda worked on you so good that even 19 years after all this proof, you still fucking are in cognitive dissonance. There's people who literally gave interviews exposing what really happened, and they wound up dead, missing. The report is taken off YouTube. All the little documentaries that were exposing some of the most corrupt shit, it now gets buried under YouTube's new policies or other platforms. You can't find it on the internet searches anymore. So this is just saddening for a person who knows the truth and is surrounded by people who are ignorant to that truth. So this is just a little quick video to let you guys know that, you know, he who increases his knowledge will also increase sorrow. So with that being said, like, comment, subscribe. I'll holla back at y'all in the next video. Take it easy.